All right, we are live. We are getting set for the Georgia-Florida game down in Jacksonville, Florida. Although, is it called the Georgia-Florida game or is it called the Florida-Georgia game? Don't know. But what I do know is that this game is going to be played at EverBank Stadium in Jacksonville, Florida, home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. However, over the next 2 years, it will not be played in Jacksonville. That is because massive renovations are going to be happening to EverBank Stadium. We shall see what happens in terms of where the Jaguars play. But next season, this game will be played at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, where the Atlanta Falcons play. That's also where the SEC championship game normally is. So that's kind of interesting. And then in 2027, this game will be played at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa Bay, Florida, where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers play. But right now, they are showing the end of the Texas Vanderbilt game, so we'll be live for that. And we also have a massive game happening in the Little Apple, Manhattan, Kansas, as the Texas Tech Red Raiders take on the Kansas State Wildcats. Now, that game has massive playoff implications, especially for Texas Tech, because they host BYU next week. And if they win, that sets up a massive showdown with BYU next week, which I believe BYU and Texas Tech are both in the top 10, if I'm not mistaken. And if Texas Tech wins today, that would mean ESPN College Game Day will be in Lubbock, Texas for that showdown. Oh, a fumble! And I think, who's got it? Who's got it? Vanderbilt had a beautiful chance to get the ball back. They're down 3 right now. But who's got it? It's 34-31, 33 seconds left. Right now, according to the score clock, it says Texas has the ball, but the referees are discussing it. So let's see. So it's going to be Texas ball because it ended up going out of bounds with nobody having clear possession. So it's going to be Texas ball, and it looks like the Longhorns are going to hold on for the victory. It says that kickoff between Georgia and Florida will be at 3:45, but we are going to stay live until then. But as I was just saying, this game between Texas Tech and Kansas State has massive implications as Texas Tech hosts BYU next week. And Texas is going to pull off the upset. Number 20 Texas, 6-2 on the season, takes down number 9 Vanderbilt, who was 7-1 on the season. I personally never thought Vanderbilt was truly legit. I thought they were kind of fraudulent anyway. So, but Texas wins. So they move to 7-2, 4-1 in conference play, and Vanderbilt drops to 7-2. They are 3-2 in conference play. I'm surprised they're not storming the field. But, it's interesting because earlier in the season, we got the Red River rivalry with Texas and Oklahoma, where half the stadium was burnt orange and half the stadium was crimson. It's going to be the same way today with Florida and Georgia, but there's not an official name for this rivalry. In the past, I believe it's been called the world's largest cocktail party, but I don't think it goes by that name anymore. I could be mistaken. But nonetheless, it's going to be half the stadium is red and black, half the stadium is blue and orange. Now, with Georgia, they are number 5 in right now, according to the AP. Of course, Florida is unranked. Georgia's one loss this season came at home against Alabama, who seems to be Georgia's kryptonite. However, Georgia's two biggest wins of the season were on the road at Tennessee on Rocky Top at Neyland Stadium in what was a hell of a game, and at home just a couple weeks ago against Ole Miss. Now, of course, the head coach of Ole Miss is Lane Kiffin. Why do I bring that up? Well, the Florida Gators fired Billy Napier. Ironically, Florida fired Billy Napier following a win at home, no less, against Mississippi State. But when you lose at home against South Florida, you lose on the road at Miami, you lose on the road at LSU. And Florida is a program that's known for winning national championships, being near the top of the SEC, competing for conference championships. Billy Napier has not gotten the Gators anywhere close to that. So I understand why they fired him. By the way, stay tuned. Tomorrow at 1 p.m. I will be doing a Colts Steelers live stream. But here we go. Florida and Georgia. Now, Billy Gonzalez is the interim head coach for Florida because, like I said, the Gators fired Billy Napier following a win against Mississippi State. So it's ironic. And it's an interesting quarterback matchup. You got Gunnar Stockton against DJ Lagway. I would say Stockton's more of a pocket passer, although he has the ability to get out and run and make plays. DJ Lagway, I would say, is more of the athletic, mobile quarterback. So it's going to be interesting to see how these two defenses go about facing the other quarterback. And this is the 104th meeting between the Georgia Bulldogs and the Florida Gators. Florida has lost, I believe, 4 or 5 in a row in this series. So it is Joe Chassator and Joe Rogers on the call. I thought this was going to be the game where Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit would be. But instead, they will be at Neyland Stadium in Rocky Top for Oklahoma against Tennessee. But, yeah. I don't think I've done a live stream for this game since, God, at least 2019 or something. But this is Florida's first game following firing Billy Napier because they had a bye last week. So essentially, they've had 2 weeks to get ready for this game. How much will that help them? I don't know because you're going up against Georgia. But just waiting for kickoff to get underway. We still have about 5 minutes, so I'll switch over to Texas Tech and Kansas State for just a minute. Let's see. I think Kansas State has the ball first and 10. It is currently 0-0. Texas Tech, is ranked number 13 in the country. They are 7-1. Kansas State is 4-4 on the season. Kansas State has it near the 50. Back to pass. I don't know the quarterback for Texas Tech or for Kansas State, but it is intercepted. And Texas Tech gets the ball right back. So here we go. Like I said, this is a critical game for Texas Tech, knowing that they have the showdown with BYU next week. And it, like I said, it has ESPN College Game Day implications because if Texas Tech wins this game, that's where College Game Day will be next week. Lubbock, Texas. I do wonder I know Texas Tech is currently in the Big 12, but think about this for a second. You have the Texas Longhorns and the Texas A&M Aggies, both in the SEC. I know Texas just recently moved to the SEC, but still, what would happen if Texas Tech moved over to the SEC. And you had all three of them in that conference. That would be fascinating. I don't think it'll happen because it seems like Texas Tech is doing pretty well in the Big 12. But theoretically, what do you think it would look like if Texas Tech were to leave the Big 12, join the SEC, and link up with Texas and Texas A&M? As the Florida Gators take the field, they are in their home blue jerseys, which means Georgia is in their road whites with the red helmets and the Green Bay Packers style logo in black, though. Of course, the Gators are wearing their orange helmets with the word Gators written on it. Me personally, I would prefer if Florida had their actual logo on the side of their helmet. Right now, they're showing the Georgia game at Auburn. Well, no, they're actually showing more highlights of Gunner Stockton, excuse me. But in my opinion, Georgia got away with one on the road at Auburn. That's Georgia's new way of clapping now. Let's see. Man, live stream. I don't understand any of what that means, Grandizer. Yeah, man, live in the sunlit world of what he believes to be reality. But there is unseen by most an underworld, a place that is just as real, but not as brightly lit, a dark side. Yeah, I still don't get it. Sorry. I even read it out loud, Grandizer, but I still don't get it. But anyway, Russ Callaway will be providing the play options. Ryan O'Hara will be the play caller, and Steve Spurrier Jr. is the on-field quarterbacks coach. So, yes. So, even though Billy Napier is fired, it sounds like DJ Lagway will yeah. Florida has the second ranked strength of schedule. This is their fourth game versus a top 5 opponent. All games have been on the road or at a neutral site. I still don't know how Florida beat Texas at home. That's one of the more confusing games, but here we go. Georgia and Florida set to kick it off. It's interesting where we are right now. Like I said, this game is being played in Jacksonville, but due to massive renovations at EverBank Stadium, this game will be moved to Atlanta next year and then Tampa Bay in 2027. And then I would expect it to return to Jacksonville in 2028. It'll be interesting to see what the Jaguars do over the course of these next 2 years while these renovations are going on. But here we go, Florida and Georgia. Florida kicks it off, and we are underway. Ball lands in the end zone, and it is a touchback. So out comes Gunner Stockton. Georgia has been quite resilient this season. They had to make big comebacks on the road at Tennessee on Rocky Top. That's not an easy place to play. And then just a couple weeks ago, they had to make a massive comeback at home against Ole Miss. Of course, when you mention Ole Miss, you have to bring up head coach Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin has, of course, been linked to the Florida job. He's also been linked to the LSU job. He has not yet committed to staying at Ole Miss, but he has also not yet committed to leaving for LSU or Florida. So who knows what's going to happen with that. But anyway, I expect Zachariah Branch to have a big game for Georgia. as well as Noah Thomas. Those are their two big wide receivers. But here we go. Georgia has it at about the 22 or 23 yard line. They run it. And maybe they got to gain them like 2 yards or something. But it is now third down. Georgia with it. Like I said, Georgia is ranked number 5 in the country. Florida is unranked. Florida comes into this game 3-4 overall, 2-2 in conference play. Georgia is 6-1. Of course, their one loss is to their daddy, Alabama, at home. They are 4-1 in conference play. Nice pass from Gunnar Stockton. I believe that is to Bell. Yes, it is. Yeah, Gunnar Stockton has played really well offensively so far this season for Georgia, and I expect no different. Florida has a interim head coach, so here we go. Georgia has it just around the 40-yard line. Play action. Stockton. I think he was looking for a pass down the field, but nobody was open. So he got sacked on the play. Yeah, Florida all season, they want to get pressure on the quarterback. And looking at this play, there was nobody open for Stockton down the field. So it is 2nd and 10 now for Georgia. Stockton back to pass. Throws it. Incomplete. There was contact on the play. Let's see. Yes, they are calling. They did throw the flag. It's going to be pass interference on the defense. There we go. So it's going to be automatic first down for Georgia. Let's see. Yep, pass interference on the defense, like I said. So first down, Georgia. By the way, this is just a normal live stream. We are not on StreamYard, so I will not be able to post the live comments in the live chat, but I will read them out. So if you are in the live chat, keep on talking, and we're watching Georgia, Florida. I'll give you updates also on Texas Tech and Kansas State as well. And like I said, tomorrow we will be live at 1 p.m. as Daniel Jones and the 7-1 Indianapolis Colts head to the Steel City to take on Aaron Rodgers and the 4-3 Pittsburgh Steelers. Of course, the Cleveland Browns are on a bye week right now. We will be at the New Jersey Jets next week. As of right now, I am not planning on live streaming that game because Browns Jets is going to be a very ugly game, not worth watching. But Georgia has it. They are in Florida territory right now. Stockton back to pass, and it is caught. And it goes to Oscar Delp for the first down. And it is, I believe, 1st and goal for Georgia. No, they've changed it to 2nd down. Hold on. Georgia is putting together a very nice opening drive right now, and which they should. They're the number 5 team in the country. They've won 4 or 5 in a row against Florida. It is 1st and 10 for the Gators, or I'm sorry, for the Bulldogs. Run with Frazier, and they don't really get much of anything. So it is 2nd down, 11:20 left in the first quarter. So let's see if Georgia can convert this drive into a touchdown. Florida would like to hold them to a field goal. Just about 11 minutes left in the first quarter. Georgia has had the ball for the entire first quarter so far. Florida has not yet touched it. Their current drive is 7 plays over 4 minutes, and they cap it with a touchdown. Gunnar Stockton with a beautiful pass to Dylan Bell, an 8-yard reception, and it is quickly 6 7-0 Georgia with the point after coming up. That was a heck of an opening drive for Georgia, and I don't know where the defense was on that one. That's their first opening drive touchdown against Florida since 2020. Dang. That drive went 8 plays, 75 yards, 407 in terms of time, and they kicked the extra point. So it is 7-0 Georgia. And now the Gators will get their first possession. But in the meantime, I thought they were going to commercial in this Georgia-Florida game, and correction, they are going to commercial. So we will switch over to this Texas Tech-Kansas State game while there is a commercial break. Kansas State has the ball first and 15, just about 9 minutes left in the first quarter, 0-0. Kansas State comes into this game 4-4 on the season. Texas Tech is 7-1. And just to reiterate what I said earlier, I find it interesting. Texas Tech is in the Big 12, but Texas A&M and Texas both left the Big 12 to join the SEC. So what would it look like if Texas Tech did the same thing and joined both Texas A&M and Texas in the SEC? Would the three of them always play each other? It's interesting. So it's 2nd and 9, and nice run by Kansas State to get near first down, but they're just a little bit short. I love the purple uniforms for Kansas State, by the way. So it is 3rd and 1. Hey, what's up, Brandon? Nice to have you. But it's 3rd and 1 for Kansas State. Of course, Brandon, you already know it's Game 7 tonight. Dodgers, Blue Jays. That was not a lodged ball last night. I think the big play! Touchdown, Kansas State! Dang, that came out of nowhere. Oh my. And it is currently 6-0, and it is quickly 6-0 K-State. Well then, where did that come from? Oh, Avery Johnson with a complete fake out, and that's probably one of the easiest touchdown runs I've ever seen. Avery Johnson with a very nice play to get into the end zone and give Kansas State the lead in the Little Apple, Manhattan, Kansas. And it is quickly 7-0 Kansas State. So both games are currently in commercial break. Kansas State is up 7-0 against Texas Tech, and Georgia is up 7-0 against Florida. But of course, we also have Game 7 going down tonight. Dodgers against the Blue Jays. The Dodgers are looking to repeat as World Series champions. Meanwhile, the Blue Jays are looking for their first title since 1993. And the road team has won 4 consecutive Game 7s in the World Series, dating back to 2014. That would be 2014, the San Francisco Giants in Kansas City. 2016, the Chicago Cubs in Cleveland. The 2017 Houston Asterisks in LA. But that World Series title does not count for Houston because of their massive cheating scandal. And the Georgia-Florida game is back from commercial, but I want to finish this thought. And then 2019, the Washington Nationals won in Houston against the Asterisks. Of course, in 2019, that was the World Series where the road team won every single game. A home team hasn't won the World Series since the 2011 St. Louis Cardinals beat the Texas Rangers at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. So, in that aspect, it kind of favors the Dodgers. And the pitching matchup, by the way, is Shohei Ohtani against Max Scherzer. Nice pass from DJ Lagway. And it's completed for a Florida first down. And the impact players for Florida, it is Dallas Wilson, and running back Jaden Ball. And for Georgia is linebacker CJ Allen, and I missed who the other one was. Oh, SMU upset Miami. Yes, Houston won it at home in Game 6 against Philly, but I was strictly talking about Game 7s in the World Series. This is the first Game 7 in the World Series since 2019. But anyway, Florida has it. Lagway takes the snap, looks to pass, and nobody's open, and they throw it underneath, and it is a loss on the play. Wilson with the immediate tackle, and that brings up third down for Florida. But there is an injury on the play. Not sure who that is. Oh, it is Jordan Hall, defensive lineman. So we'll see if they go to commercial break or not. There is 9:39 left in the first quarter. 7-0 Georgia leads as Kansas State kicks it off, and they will go to commercial in the Georgia-Florida game. So we will switch over to Texas Tech against Kansas State. And Texas Tech gets a nice return, but Kansas State is quickly there. So according to this, the average score at the end of the first quarter, Texas Tech gets 15, and the opponents get 1. And that is for this season entering today, which is interesting. Because right now it is 7-0 in favor of K-State. Again, maybe Texas Tech is... This game is in a very tricky spot for Texas Tech. And that pass is incomplete, but you've got BYU in a big game on deck at home in Lubbock, and you're having to play at Kansas State. That's a tricky spot for Texas Tech. And I can't get that idea out of my head. What if Texas Tech left the Big 12 and joined the SEC and followed suit with what Texas A&M did and what Texas did? Because Texas A&M did it first, and then they were followed by Texas. So could Texas Tech follow suit? We'll have to see. Third down and 6, pass is complete. They had been 0-2 up to this point, but it is 1st and 10 now for Texas Tech. Just about 7 minutes left in the first quarter. Texas Tech is right outside the 40-yard line. They run it, and Kansas State says, "No, sir. No, you will not do anything." So now it is 2nd down. Like I said, K-State is up 7-0. We do have college basketball coming up. Kentucky-Louisville is coming up. That is a big-time rivalry in college basketball, though not the best rivalry. The best rivalry, and Brandon, I will continue to say this, the best rivalry in college basketball, and easily a top 3 rivalry in all of sports. The Duke Blue Devils against the North Carolina Tar Heels. Anytime those two play each other in men's college basketball, I'm finding my favorite spot down here in my man cave. I am turning off all the damn lights, and I am not leaving. I am watching every single second of that game. And here we go. 3rd and 4 for Texas Tech. They're just outside the 50-yard line. back to pass, and the pass is complete, and they are right near the first down marker as Florida is back from commercial break. 3rd and 8 for the Gators. Just about 9.5 minutes left in the first quarter. 7-0 Georgia. DJ Lagway back to pass. Gets it out. And nice pickup, but not quite enough for the first down. That'll bring up 4th down, and let's see what Florida wants to do. There's 9:20 left in the first quarter. 7-0 Georgia. You're just outside the 50-yard line. So you're still in your own territory, but it is 4th and 1. So let's see what Florida elects to do here. And they are going to punt it, which is interesting. I think it's the right decision, but I would have considered going for it or doing a fake punt. That's just me, though. Maybe I'm just crazy. I don't know. The SMU Miami went into overtime. SMU intercepted, and then they punched it in. So SMU upsets Miami. So number 10 Miami goes down again because they lost earlier this season against Louisville, which at the time they were ranked number 2, and I had said they were the best team in college football. I had said they were better than Ohio State. People have been trying to get me to admit that I was wrong. Guess what? I will not. But we are back, and Gunnar Stockton tries to run it. Doesn't really get anywhere. So it is 2nd down. Just about 8.5 minutes left in the first quarter. 7-0 Georgia. Gunnar Stockton gained 1 yard on that play. 2nd and 9. This is my first Florida Gators live stream in quite a while. I am both a Penn State fan as well as a Florida fan. Those are my primary two. I've been a Penn State fan for quite a few years, but I've been a Florida fan for a few more years. So those are my two favorite teams in all of college football by far. So 3rd and 9 for Florida. Of course, Penn State got absolutely smashed by Ohio State, which wasn't surprising. I wasn't really expecting Ohio State to allow it to stay close today against Penn State. Penn State, of course, also has an interim head coach because we fired James Franklin because he can't win the big games. You know, we had the whiteout against Oregon earlier this season. And guess what? Failed. We lost in overtime. He could not beat Michigan or Ohio State. And when it came to top 10 games, guess what? Penn State usually lost. And after that Oregon game, guess what happened? Penn State lost at UCLA. And we lost against Northwestern. So, yeah, I understand why we fired James Franklin. And I was very much in favor of it. Interestingly, I am not the same way about Kevin Stefanski. I'm not, although my confidence level in Kevin Stefanski is quickly eroding. So we'll see how much longer I'm fully in support of Stefanski. But Georgia has to punt it away to Florida. And it looks like the Gators will get pretty good field position out of this. And there is about 6:40 left in the first quarter, and they are showing some of DJ Lagway's footwork right now. And we'll switch over to Texas Tech, Kansas State right now. Kansas State has the ball. It is 4th and 10, so they are most likely going to have to punt it. So, it sounds like Robert Griffin III is on the call for this game. I'm not sure who the main play-by-play guy though is yet. That might be Jason Benetti. I'm not sure, but touchdown Florida. DJ Lagway with a beautiful pass. Eugene Wilson III with a 40-yard reception. And the Gators tie this game up. Well, not yet. I'm doing my best to keep up. I'll try to stay more focused on the Georgia-Florida game because that is the primary purpose of this stream. So my apologies. But with just about 6.5 to go here in the first quarter, it is now, as long as this PAT it goes right through the uprights. So please hold. And it is good. So we are tied 7-7, Georgia and Florida. If Florida can pull this off with an interim head coach, that really says something to me. Where was the defense on that one for Georgia? I'm surprised Kirby Smart didn't do his classic claps of yeah, that's his classic clap. That's his way of clapping. Instead of the normal clap, Kirby Smart, if he wants to clap, he does that. So both games are currently in commercial break right now. So we'll wait for both games to come back. But yeah, Vanderbilt already lost earlier today at Texas. Honestly, I never really believed Vanderbilt was a legit playoff contender anyway. To me, like, it was a great story, but like them and Indiana both, if you put Indiana against Alabama, I'm taking Alabama every time. If you put Indiana against Ohio State, guess what? I'm taking Ohio State. If you put Indiana against Georgia, give me Georgia. If you put Vanderbilt against Ohio State, I'm taking Ohio State. We already saw Vanderbilt play Alabama earlier this season in Tuscaloosa. Guess what? Alabama won. If you put Vanderbilt against Georgia, guess what? I'm taking Georgia. I don't think Vanderbilt is legit. I think they are fraudulent. And I understand that Diego Pavia was getting a lot of hype and he was being put into the Heisman Trophy discussion, but I felt like he was very overhyped. And Kansas State, Texas Tech is back from commercial break. And back on October 14th, 2023, Kansas State went on the road and knocked off Texas Tech 38-21. So we'll see if history repeats itself. This is the 25th all-time meeting between Texas Tech and Kansas State. K-State leads the series 15-9. The Wildcats have won the last 8 games. The last time Texas Tech beat Kansas State was in 2015. So it's been a while for Texas Tech. And Kansas State has the ball right now. They are up 7-0. It is 4th and 10, and they are going for this. The pass, incomplete. So Kansas State turns it over on downs. So it'll be Texas Tech ball right now, right near the 50-yard line. I don't know exactly what type of play this was. It looked almost like a hook route or a comeback route a little bit. And, of course, the Monday night football game is Cardinals-Cowboys. No, thank you. But here we go. Georgia, Florida is back from commercial. So we'll see if Florida defensively can capitalize on the momentum that their offense just gave them. With 6.5 minutes to go, in the first quarter. We are tied 7-7 as Florida kicks it off. And of course, like I said, we don't know the official name of this rivalry. Is it the Georgia-Florida game or is it the Florida-Georgia game? It doesn't have an official name like the Red River rivalry between Texas and Oklahoma. I know it's been called the world's largest cocktail party, but I think that name isn't very common now for this rivalry. Correct me if I'm wrong in the live chat, but as I understand it, it doesn't really use that name anymore. So it's interesting that this game doesn't have an official name. The Gators' last drive, like I said, it was a 40-yard touchdown pass, their second longest of the season. Georgia ball now, right at about the 25-yard line. Stockton's pass is knocked down, so it'll be 2nd and 10 for Georgia now. Looks like Jordan Hall is headed for x-ray, so probably not going to have him back if you're Georgia defensively, so we'll see how they adjust with that. But just about 6.5 to go in the first quarter. Screen pass. I think that's to Zachariah Branch. And they get a good gain out of it, but it is 3rd down. So we'll see how Georgia goes about this. Yep, they tried for the screen pass. And they wanted to get a player or two out in front for the blocks, but Florida was just good defensively there. And it's 3rd and 6. 6 minutes to go in the first quarter. Georgia with it. Just outside the 30-yard line. Gunnar Stockton back to pass. And it is intercepted. Devin Moore with the big interception. And Florida does capitalize on the touchdown pass as they get the interception and have it in Georgia territory. And now they have a chance to take the lead. 5:42 left in the first quarter. We are tied 7-7. Oh, that's a good read by Gunnar Stockton. The receiver just could not hang on to the pass. I think it might have been tipped by the defensive player from Florida, James. But here we go. Florida has it back now offensively. Can DJ Lagway and the Gators offense convert this into points? Or can Georgia's defense step up to the plate? No pun intended, since it's Game 7 of the World Series. Here we go. Play action. Lagway back to pass. Oh, it is complete. Big play right away off the interception. And it is to Wilson again. Right now, Florida is just carving up this Georgia defense. With this Lagway to Wilson connection, Georgia might have to start double teaming Wilson, which could open up single coverage for other receivers for Florida. But the Gators have it right at the 10-yard line now. Can the Gators punch this into the end zone? They run it with Keaton Ball, and they get a good gain out of it, but nothing crazy. And it will be 2nd and goal now for Florida with just about 4.5 minutes to go here in the first quarter. We are tied 7-7 between the number 5 Georgia Bulldogs and the unranked 3-4 Florida Gators, who, of course, do not have their head coach, Billy Napier, because they fired him. So let's see what they draw up on 2nd and goal. Lagway hands it up. No! He keeps it, and he cannot break past the Georgia defender. So it is 3rd and goal now for Florida. They've got to punch this in and get a touchdown. A field goal does not beat Georgia. when you get an interception like this against Gunnar Stockton and Georgia, you got to punch this into the end zone. A field goal is a win for Georgia. Yes, you got points, but when you're going against Georgia, you got to punch it in the end zone. Lagway cannot escape, and Georgia's defense slams the door shut. It is 4th and goal. So Billy Gonzalez, the interim head coach now for Florida. Interesting that they go from Billy Napier to Billy Gonzalez. But they will settle for the field goal. Trey Smack inside of 40 yards is 26 of 28 on the season. So to take the lead on a 22-yard attempt, kick is up, and the kick is good. So Florida converts the interception into a field goal, and they take a 10-7 lead over Georgia. But if I'm Georgia, I won because, again, like I said, if you get a interception like that against Georgia, you have to punch that ball into the end zone. But they did not, so that's a victory, in my opinion, for Georgia. So right now it is 10-7, Florida. But would I say they have control of this game? Not really. I don't feel like either team truly has control of this game right now. Yeah, Georgia controlled the ball for most of the first quarter and punched it into the end zone. They've trailed in the first quarter in 5 of their 6 games so far this season for Georgia in SEC play. So Georgia's comfortable playing from behind. I don't know if they want to continue to play with fire like that, but Georgia gets it, and Branch returns it to about the 20 or so. So Georgia has it now. As we do not go to commercial break. Stockton coming back out on the field looking to redeem himself. Although I would say the interception was not his fault. Yes, the pass was a little high, but the receiver still should have come down with it. So far today, Gunnar Stockton is 7 of 9 for 63 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. So not bad. They have it right at about the 20. 1st and 10 for Georgia. Stockton with the handoff. And nice run. It'll be about it looks like about 2nd and 5. Yeah, I got that right. So we have about 2:40 left in the first quarter. I'm not sure if I'll live stream through halftime or if I'll just end it right when we get to the end of the first half. We shall see. But we have about 2.5 minutes left in the first quarter. They hand it off, and Phillips gets it, and they pick up the first down. What do you think? Should we continue the live stream through halftime or end it at the end of the first half and then just come back in the second half as 2 separate streams? Put your thoughts in the comment section in the live chat. 1st and 10 for Georgia as we hit the 2-minute mark. Lucky moving in motion. They run it. Frazier runs it this time. And over in the other game, it is still 7-0 Kansas State over Texas Tech right now. Frazier so far today has 4 rushes for 16 yards, and he's averaging 4 yards. So decent. It is 2nd and 4 now for Georgia, trailing 10-7. They have it at about 30. Ooh, reverse. They do an end around, and they do pick up the first down. They do pick up the first down on the end around. Nice play designed by Georgia. We are coming towards the end of the first quarter here. Just about 40 seconds left. 10-7, Florida leads, but Georgia's on the move. 1st and 10, screen pass out to Bell, and they get past the 50-yard line, so Georgia is now in Florida territory. And we got about 20 seconds left in the first quarter. Looks like Georgia's trying to go no huddle, and they want to get one more play in before the end of the first quarter. Is 2nd and 4. 10 seconds left in the first quarter. Let's see if they get this play off. They do. Stockton back to pass, flushed out of the pocket, and he will just run out of bounds. And it looks like the first quarter will come to an end with the score. The Florida Gators 10 and the Georgia Bulldogs 7. Of course, Georgia struck first with the touchdown pass to Bell, but then Florida responded with a touchdown pass of their own, and then they picked up the interception, and could turn that into a field goal. So, like I said, at the end of the first quarter, it is the number 5 Georgia Bulldogs 7 and the unranked Florida Gators 10. Do we have an upset brewing here in Jacksonville? Too early to say, as it is only the end of the first quarter. But we are in commercial break between Georgia and Florida, as well as Texas Tech and Kansas State. So in the meantime, like I said, we got Game 7 tonight of the World Series. We also have WWE Saturday Night's main event. I know, Brandon, you are super excited about that. I am not going to watch it. It is going to be all about Game 7 of the World Series for me tonight. Let's see if the Dodgers can go back-to-back. They would be the first repeat World Series champion since, good God, I don't know the last time we had a repeat World Series champion. It has to at least be since the 90s. Because 2001 was the Diamondbacks, 2002 was the Angels, 2003 was the Marlins, 2004 was the Red Sox, 2005 was the White Sox, 2006 was the Cardinals, 2007 was the Red Sox, 2008 was the Phillies, 2009 was the Yankees, 2010 was the Giants, 2011 was the Cardinals, 2012 was the Giants, 2013 was the Red Sox, 2014 was the Giants, 2015 was the Royals, 2016 was the Cubs, 2017 was nobody, 2018 was the Red Sox, 2019 was the Nationals, 2020 was the Dodgers, but that was the Mickey Mouse World Series title because that was a shortened season. They only played 60 games, and that World Series was played in Arlington against the Rays. 2021 was the Braves. 2022 was the Asterisks. 2023 was the Rangers. 2024 was the Dodgers. So, yeah, we haven't had a repeat World Series champion since at least the 90s, as Texas Tech and Kansas State are back from commercial break. As Mike Pereira is discussing something, I think it was the hit. Or maybe... No, it was not a hit. They're talking about whether this was a incomplete pass or if it was a fumble. And it looks like they are going to rule it was an incomplete pass. So 3rd and 6 now. Back to pass. Flushed out of the pocket. Can he make it? Yes, he can get there. So it'll be, nope, he did not get there. I stand corrected. So it is 4th down for Kansas State. They still lead 7-0 in the early stages of the second quarter. And the Georgia-Florida game is back from commercial break as well. 10-7 Florida. 3rd and 4 now for Georgia. Billy Gonzalez, they have scored 10 consecutive points, but can Florida's defense hold? Georgia is right at midfield. They run it with Gunnar Stockton, and they do get the first down. So, new set of downs coming up for Georgia with just about 14 and a half minutes left in the first half. Like I said, it is currently 10-7 Florida, but Georgia is on the move. They are in Florida territory now, 10-7. Stockton hands it off, play action. He looks to pass deep, and no, he can't quite connect. I think it was Lucky who was the intended target on that one, it looked like. And Stockton just kind of overshot it a little. Because I believe that, like I said, I believe that was Lucky. And that would have been a big play. Georgia might have converted that into a touchdown. But instead, it is simply 2nd and 10. Just past the 50. They are in Florida territory. Stockton back to pass. Flushed out of the pocket. Looking to pick up some yards with his legs. And he might have picked up like 1 or 2. And that'll bring up 3rd down with just about 14 minutes left in the first quarter. Or I'm sorry, in the first half. 10-7 Florida. Georgia's offense right now looks like they're stuck in mud a little bit. 3rd and 8 now for Georgia. So far this season, they convert 47% of the time, 25th in FBS. That's interesting. So can Florida's defense get off the field? It is 3rd and 8. Play clock running down to, they just get it off. Stockton back to pass. And the pass is over the middle, but it is incomplete. 4th and 8. So that brings up 4th down now for Georgia. And let's see what Kirby elects to do with his visor. Let's see. Is the offense staying out there? It looks like the offense is nope, I stand corrected. It looked like at first Georgia was going for it, but no, they are punting it. So good job by Florida defensively, but it is not great field position for Florida as they have it just outside of the 10-yard line. Of course, in the Kansas State Texas Tech game, Texas Tech won back in Little Manhattan, or in the Little Apple, 58-28 back in 2008 on October 4th. And you'll like this stat if you're a Kansas State fan. 17 years ago, Kansas State won, or Texas Tech won that game. They have an 8-2 home record against Texas Tech. Their last loss, like I said, 2008. But right now, Florida has it, and they get a decent play on 1st down, and that'll make it second down. They use pre-snap motion about 68% of the time so far this season. That's the 3rd highest in FBS. 2nd and 6. So a 4-yard gain on that first play. They're just a little outside the 15-yard line. Handoff. And he'll get close to the 1st down marker, but not quite. As we have hit the 1-hour mark on this live stream. Thank you all for tuning in. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button, or spike that subscribe button like Rob Gronkowski, and hit the like button with a slam dunk courtesy of Victor Wembanyama. How do you like that for my new tagline? spike the subscribe button like Rob Gronkowski, and dunk the like button like Victor Wembanyama. What do you think? Do you like that for the new thing? Let me know in the live chat or in the comment section below. Either way. That's what I'm thinking. Instead of punch that subscribe button like a UFC fighter and hit the like button with the Judas effect, courtesy of Chris Jericho, I'm thinking about doing spike the like subscribe button like Rob Gronkowski and dunk on the like button like Victor Wembanyama. What do you think? But Florida has to punt, so they can't do anything with it defensively, as Georgia fair catches it right at about the 40-yard line. So with about 11 and a half minutes to go, Georgia has it back offensively, trailing 10-7. And Georgia, Florida will go to a commercial break, so we will switch over to Texas Tech, Kansas State in the meantime. Texas Tech is still trailing 7-0 here in the second quarter. That looked like pass interference to me, or at least holding. 2nd and 2 now. 11-11 left in the first half. Texas Tech runs it. And, yeah, Kansas State wasn't going to allow that. It'll be a loss on the play with just about 11 minutes to go in the first half. Like I said, Kansas State is up 7-0 against Texas Tech. And this game has major implications, especially for Texas Tech. I cannot stress this enough. They have a massive showdown with BYU looming next week. And if Texas Tech wins, then ESPN College Game Day will be in Lubbock, Texas. 3rd and 12, or I'm sorry, 3rd and 2, and they get the first down, and they are deep into Texas or Kansas State territory. That's a huge conversion for the Texas Tech Red Raider offense. Shout out to G-Fed. He was at Lubbock, Texas, for a tour of the new stadium or the massive renovations they made at Texas Tech. He is currently trying to do 100 stadiums in 100 days as Texas Tech picks up the first down. Nice run by Dickey. 1st and 10 now. And Zuko, my bearded dragon, is going crazy. Yes, I do have a second bearded dragon because unfortunately, last summer, my first bearded dragon, Sandy, passed away. I had her for about 12 or 13 years, at least since I was a sophomore in high school. But here we go. Texas Tech runs it, and they are starting to pick it up offensively. Oh, you can't throw him down like that. What are you doing? He got rustled down on that one. Cameron Dickey, 10 rushes, about 49 yards, averaging 4.9 yards. They run it. Can they pick up the first down? Oh, this is going to be close. Well, there's a flag on the play. But, yeah. So I unfortunately lost Sandy, my first bearded dragon, this past summer. And it is a penalty on Kansas State. Personal foul. So Texas Tech picks up the automatic first down. And Grease is my all-time favorite musical. So that's why I named her Sandy. Also because at the time I got Sandy, I was doing the musical Grease. And so with this new bearded dragon that I got, I wanted to keep the Grease theme going. So his name is Zuko, of course, named after Danny Zuko. And they hand it off, 1st and goal. But Kansas State says no. So it'll be 2nd and goal now for Texas Tech. And over in the Georgia-Florida game, you're not really missing anything. Like I said, it is still 10-7 in favor of the Gators. But Georgia has it just outside of midfield. But right now, we're going to focus on this Texas Tech-Kansas State game. 7-0. Kansas State leads. They come into this game 4-4 on the season. Texas Tech is ranked number 13 in the country, 7-1 so far on the season. Back to pass. And, he cannot escape. And Kansas State picks up a huge sack and forces Texas Tech way back. And Morton is down for Texas Tech. And he just could not escape the pass rush by Kansas State. They got into the backfield in a hurry, and there was just nowhere for him to go. So it is 3rd and goal out by the 20-yard line now for Texas Tech. They are 4 for 8 on 3rd downs today, with just about 7 minutes to go in the first half. And let's see. Kansas State calls timeout. So we will switch over to the Georgia-Florida game in the meantime. And it is 3rd down now with just about 10 minutes left in the first half. Like I said, it is currently Florida 10, Georgia 0. Florida 10, Georgia 7. They are 2 for 5 on 3rd down so far. Average yards to go is 7.8. Right now it is 3rd and 4. They run it, and they pick up the first down, and they are in field goal range now. But knowing Georgia, they don't want a field goal. They want to punch this ball into the end zone. We got just about 9 minutes left in the first half. So can Georgia punch this ball into the end zone? Got 9 minutes to go in the first half. Georgia putting together another solid drive. They run it again and maybe pick up 3 or 4 yards. Not much. But Florida is in a tricky spot right now because it looks like Georgia is starting to figure it out offensively in terms of the run game. And if the Bulldogs get that going, well, you're really in trouble going against this offense. So far, they've rushed it 17 times and passed it 13 times. They pass it again with a little screen pass and don't really pick up much. Maybe 1 or 2 yards, maybe like 3 or 4 yards or something. Let's see. 3rd down, 8 minutes to go in the first half. 10-7 Florida. 3rd and 5 for Georgia. 8 minutes remain in the first half. Thank you again for joining me on this live stream. Don't forget, I will be live again tomorrow for the Indianapolis Colts against the Pittsburgh Steelers at 1 p.m. So be on the lookout for that. And flag is down. Georgia picks up the first down for the moment on a catch by Jones. But I think it's going to be called for holding. I think. Let's see what the officials say. They're giving the holding signal. Holding. Yep, it is holding on the offense. But let's switch over to the Kansas State Georgia game or Texas Tech game for the moment. 3rd and goal, and they get to about the 10-yard line. So let's see what Texas Tech elects to do here. I would expect they're going to kick the field goal and try and make it 7-3. And that is exactly what they will do. They kick the field goal, so that is a win for Kansas State defensively. This is a 29-yard attempt for Texas Tech. Kick is up, and the kick is good. So it is 7-3. Kansas State leads Texas Tech with 6.5 minutes to go in the first half. And let's see. And meanwhile, Georgia has it, but it is 4th and 8 now. And they are going for this. Okay. Or let's see if they're actually going for it, though. Fourth and 8, 6.5 to go in the first half. And there is a flag on it on the play. Let's see what the call is. I think it's going to be offside on Florida, which means Georgia would get the automatic first down. I think. Oh, no. It is a false start on Georgia. How is that a false start on Georgia? I guess they're calling it. A false start on Gunnar Stockton because of an exaggerated clap, which I don't know about you, but I've never heard of that. So I can't elaborate more on that play because, well, like I said, I've never heard of it. And they're putting more time back on the game clock, I guess. So, yeah, 4th and 13 now, because I guess the false start was called on Gunnar Stockton for an exaggerated clap. Let me know if you've ever heard of that penalty, because I certainly haven't. And Georgia is now forced to punt it away. And Florida calls for the fair catch. Yeah, I've never heard of a. Yeah, just about 6 minutes left in the first half. And Georgia gets called for a false start because of an exaggerated clap. Just when I thought I've seen everything, that happens. Weird. But Texas Tech has the ball right back now. It's down 7-3. They run it and don't really get much on the play. Just about 5.5 minutes left in the first half. They trail 7-3. Like I said, massive implications in this game for Texas Tech. Because again, they have BYU coming to town next week, and that could bring College Game Day there. Oh, let's see. They pick up the first down, and I believe that'll be 1st and goal now for Texas Tech. So it is 1st and goal now for Texas Tech with 4:50 left in the first half. They trail 7-3 against Kansas State. Can Texas Tech take the lead? And close, but I think he's down at the 1-yard line. So hopefully you're enjoying this live stream. Let me know. Do you want more live streams like this? And if you do you want more college football live streams or do you want more NFL live streams like what I'm going to do tomorrow when the Colts take on the Steelers. Like I said, do you want more college football live streams or do you want more NFL live streams? Leave your comments in the live chat, or you can put them in the comment section below, whichever one you want. Texas Tech is 4 for 9 on third downs today. It is third and goal with 3:45 left, and they picked up the touchdown. But hold on. There is a flag on the play. So let's see. It was offside on the defense, so it is touchdown, Texas Tech. And the Red Raiders jump out in front. Cameron Dickey runs it into the end zone. Yeah, he walked into the end zone untouched, and Texas Tech takes a 9-7 lead over Kansas State. Meanwhile, well, first of all, the extra point is no good. So Texas Tech does not go up 10-7. Instead, it remains 9-7, only a 2-point game. I'm not sure if this was. It just doinked right off the left field goal post. So now we switch back to Georgia, Florida, as Florida picks up a big play here. Nice run. Here we go. 10-7 Florida. 5:40 left in the first half. Lagway back to pass. And just a little out in front. Oh, that could have been a big play if Lagway had completed that. But it falls incomplete. So it is 2nd and 10 now for Florida. They lead Georgia 10-7 with 5.5 to go in the first half. Of course, again, Florida, this is their first game since firing Billy Napier. Coincidentally, they fired him after they beat Mississippi State at home. But I guess when you lose to South Florida, Miami, and LSU, that's not enough to keep your job if you're Billy Napier at Florida. So that pass falls incomplete. 3rd and 10 now for Florida. 5:28 left in the first half. 10-7 Gators. Florida comes into this game 3-4 on the season, 2-2 in SEC play. Georgia, meanwhile, is 6-1 overall, 4-1 in conference play. Lagway, and they blow the play dead as there is a flag on the play. And what are they calling? They call false start on Florida, so that'll back them up. I would expect Georgia to bring some pressure now defensively. I don't know about a blitz. Yeah, I don't see a false start there, but it is now 3rd and 15 for Florida. Lagway, they go with a screen pass, which makes no sense. And Florida gets nowhere near the first down marker. And that'll bring up Florida. Or, I'm sorry, that'll bring up Florida. Excuse me, I meant that'll bring up 4th down for Florida. 4th and 8, 5 minutes to go in the first half. Like I said, 10-7 in favor of the Gators. Tommy Doman punting for Florida. Zachariah Branch, back to receive. Punt is away. Oh, that looked like it was going to take a Florida bounce, but it ends up in the end zone. Yeah, like I said, though, this rivalry will be played in Atlanta next year because EverBank Stadium is going through a massive renovation. It's going to become a dome stadium, actually. Right now, it is an open air stadium. They've hosted the Super Bowl once. I think that was Super Bowl 39 between the Patriots and the Eagles, round one, which the Patriots won. Of course, the Eagles didn't win their first Super Bowl until Super Bowl 52, 41-33 against the Patriots. Coincidentally, I actually predicted that the final score of that game would be 43-31. So I was off by 2 points on both sides. I don't remember if I said the Eagles would win that game or not. But nonetheless, both games are currently in commercial break. And they're showing an Aflac commercial right now with Deion Sanders and Nick Saban. So that's always fun. And here comes the Aflac duck. To me, those commercials don't get me to buy Aflac. I can tell you the commercials where it's, oh, don't become your parents. Yeah, that doesn't make me want to get. I think that's for Progressive, if I'm not mistaken. And the Liberty Mutual commercials with Limu Emu. Yeah, no, those don't make me want to get Liberty Mutual. They actually do the opposite. I'm like, no, I will stay away from them. Oh, excuse me. But like I said, both games are in commercial break right now. So just waiting for one or both of them to come back. But in the meantime, yeah, College Game Day finally went to a game other than the SEC or Big Ten. That's been one of the big criticisms all season long. They went to a Big 12 game today as Cincinnati takes on Utah in Salt Lake City. Oh yeah, the 12-team college football playoffs rankings come out next Tuesday. And we are back from commercial break now. Like I said, it is 10-7 in favor of Florida. But Georgia has it 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line with 4.5 to go in the first half. Can Georgia's offense figure something out here? Because I thought they had stocked him back to pass, and he is sacked and swallowed. I thought Georgia had figured it out offensively by establishing the run game, but no, really. So here we go. Georgia has it, 2nd and 11. Like I said, Miami lost their second game today against SMU. But you're still not going to get me to admit that I was wrong. Zachariah Branch with it. Gets it out to about the 25. But guess what? There's some laundry on the field. As Tom Grossi likes to say, flag. Shout out Tom Grossi. Thanks again for doing a collab with me back in week 3 when somehow, some way, the Cleveland Browns defeated the Green Bay Packers 13-10. And the penalty was holding against Georgia. We got 3:49 left in the first half. Like I said, 10-7 in favor of Florida. But I have a feeling that even if Georgia's trailing going into the locker room, they'll come out and take it to Florida. I don't expect Georgia to keep this close for very long. 2nd and 18 now. They go play shotgun. Stockton looking to pass. Deep pass. And too far. Incomplete. And it'll be 3rd down at 18 with 3:20 left in the first half. Still 10-7 Florida. And if the receiver had continued to run, he would have caught that. But it looked like he slowed down a little bit. And that's what allowed the pass to fall incomplete. Third and 18, and Gunnar Stockton runs it and picked up decent yardage, but not enough for the first down. So that'll bring up 4th down. 3 minutes to go in the first half. In the other game, Texas Tech is up 9-7 against Kansas State. As I think that game's just about headed for halftime. So we are going to stay on the Georgia-Florida game right now. Georgia punting it on 4th and 5. As that ball takes a really good, strong Georgia bounce. And we will now switch to the Kansas State Texas Tech game, even though there are just about 20 seconds left. I think they picked up the first down. It was 4th and 1. And Texas Tech calls the timeout. They might be trying to pick up the first down. Or I'm sorry, they just picked up the first down. What I meant to say is they might be trying to get into field goal range, which would push the lead to, if I'm doing the math right, 10, 11, 12, 7. Yes. Yes, I had to think about that for a second. Forgive me. But I'll switch back to the Georgia-Florida game in a minute. But we got 20 seconds left. 1st and 10 for Texas Tech. They have 1 timeout left, as they just called their second. Let's see. 1st and 10. If I'm Texas Tech, I'm not taking any chances. I just want to get into field goal range. Let's see. Back to pass. And deep pass. Incomplete. And that takes a few seconds off the clock as we have 14 seconds left. 2nd and 10. I'm surprised they went for a deep pass there. I'm really surprised, actually, they went for a deep pass. But it remains 2nd and 10. They're right between the 50 and 40-yard line. So I'd say they're at about the 46 or 47. And quarterback runs it. That's Morton running. And it's 3rd down. There's 3 seconds left. 3rd and 4. And Texas Tech calls their final timeout. I'd imagine they're going to kick the field goal now. Excuse me. But let's see. There are 3 seconds left. Texas Tech has no timeouts left. 3rd and 4. Let's see what they're going to do here. It looks like they are going to go for the field goal. It is Jason Benetti and Robert Griffin III on the call for this. For this game on Fox, by the way, in case you want to go watch it. Let's see. They will go for the field goal. a 54-yard attempt to go up 12-7 and go up by 5. I'm not sure who gets the ball coming out in the second half. And the kick is up, and don't know if it was good or not because they cut away, but they blew the whistle, and I'm not sure why. The Kansas State coach is mad about something. Oh, he wanted to delay a game, but Kansas State called the timeout. So, doesn't matter if the field goal was good or not. So, let's try this again. So let's try this again. 3 seconds left in the first half. 54-yard attempt. 3rd and 4. Neither team has a timeout left. So this will be the final play of the first half, one way or another. Kick is up, and the kick is good. He drilled that ball kick right through the middle, and Texas Tech goes into the locker room up 12-7. I am not sure who gets the ball to start the second half. But at halftime, it is Texas Tech 12 and Kansas State 7. And now we go back to the Georgia-Florida game. And we got about a minute 50 left in the first half for this game. And Florida, like I said, is up 10-7. Florida has it. They've run 17 plays for 4 first downs. They're 0 for 4 on third downs, and time of possession is 8:24. That's for Florida. I'll give you the stats for Georgia right now. 1 second. Georgia has run 36 plays. They've got 10 first downs. They are 3 for 8 on third downs, and time of possession is 19:09. So just about everything in favor of Georgia, yet they trail 10-7. And Wilson with a nice catch on the slant route, and the Georgia defender was right there to meet him. That doesn't look like targeting or like a personal foul to me. But, they are reviewing this, and Mike Pereira, the rules expert, Mike Pereira is not the rules expert. He's over on Fox. But they are reviewing this, and the commentators are saying this is targeting, which could be big because that, if I remember correctly, a targeting penalty means you're ejected from the game. So let's see what the call is. They are calling this targeting on Georgia. So Golden, number 4 for Georgia, Bolden for Georgia is ejected. So how does this affect Georgia the rest of the game? Interesting. KJ Bolden is out of this game. So we'll see how Georgia handles this defensively, because from what I'm hearing, they're kind of depleted in terms of defensive backs. DJ Lagway back to pass, and he goes with kind of a sidearm throw and doesn't really result in anything. So it's 2nd and 10 now. A minute 27 left in the first half. Florida is up 10-7. Florida has it right at almost at the 35. Lagway can't quite connect with his receiver. That would have been a big play, but it falls harmlessly incomplete. A minute 20 left in the first half. 3rd and 10. I think he was trying to get the ball to Wilson on that play. And no, that was not to Wilson. That was to Hawkins Jr. If Lagway had just put a little more air on that throw, he would have got it. But it is 3rd and 10 now for Florida. A minute 20 left. They just get the play off before the clock expires. Oh, fumble! I think Florida recovers, but that is a huge loss on the play for Florida. And Georgia is going to get this ball back with just about a minute left. And I have no idea what DJ Lagway was trying to do on that play. It looks like he got caught in like mid-decision or something. It looked like he thought about running backwards, but also wanting to run forwards, and he just dropped the ball. And it's 4th and 23 as Kirby Smart uses his favorite clap as they call their first timeout. So they have 2 left. Florida has all 3 timeouts remaining. So 4th and 23 here for Florida. So I would expect them to punt. And that is exactly what they're doing. I don't know why you would even consider going for it on 4th and 23. And not a very good punt at all. So, oh yeah, I forgot Monday Night Football is the Arizona Cardinals against the Dallas Cowboys. I most likely will not be watching that because, well, it's not a very good matchup. But we got a minute left in the first half. Florida up 10-7. Georgia has the ball with 2 timeouts remaining. And it feels like Georgia hasn't really been able to get the ball rolling in this first half. But they have it right near the 40-yard line. Stockton sets up the screen pass, and they get decent yardage out of it. 2nd down. Less than a minute to go. 50 seconds remaining in the first half. 2nd and 6. So a gain of 4 on that first down play. Stockton back to throw. And Dylan Bell makes the catch in Florida territory. So 40 seconds left. Georgia down 10-7, like I said. But they are already on the fringe of field goal range. But you have 2 timeouts left, and you have Gunnar Stockton with it, who is 13 of 18 for 99 yards so far. So they are just outside of field goal range. Stockton back to pass. Deep pass. Oh, wide open is Zachariah Branch. I don't know what Florida was doing on that one. But they're not calling timeout. They're coming up to the line quick. And they snap the ball right away. Stockton can't escape. Good defensive play by Florida. And Georgia will call one of those timeouts. So they have 1 remaining. So but here we go. Yeah, Ohio State's not going to get tested until they play at Michigan. Because they play at Purdue next week, then they host UCLA. I think they also play Rutgers. Yeah, Ohio State's not going to get tested till they play at Michigan during the last week of the season. But 2nd and 10 now. Georgia has it. 23 seconds left, trailing by 3. And let's see what they do here. The ball is on the Florida 21-yard line. "23 seconds left. 2nd and 10. Stockton lining up in the shotgun. It does seem like they put Gunnar Stockton in shotgun a lot for Georgia offensively. Stockton takes the snap. Oh, he got blown up and it's a fumble. Damn. Okay. Well, any momentum Georgia had just blew up right in their face because Gunnar Stockton just got wrecked on that play. Castell with a massive hit. I don't know why Georgia was trying to pass this. You're on the 21-yard line of Florida. You're in field goal range. Why would you take the risk and pass it? Not a good decision at all. They might review this and call it and reverse it and call it an incomplete, but still. So the ruling on the field is a fumble forced by Castell and recovered by Jake Robinson for Florida. His arm is coming forward, but is that enough to overturn it and rule this an incomplete? I don't know if he has firm control. This play might just have to stand and be a fumble for Florida because that was the rule call on the field. And I don't see enough evidence to overturn this. Well, they're going to review this. I certainly thought they were announcing the call on the field, but no, they are reviewing this. That is a hell of a play by Jordan Castell, no matter what. But still, I don't know if there's enough video evidence to overturn this. I think this is going to be 10 set. I think this is going to remain as a fumble on the play. That is so close. I don't know. And that's what this Florida Georgia game usually comes down to is a play like this. Maybe this will end up being the difference in the game that allows Florida to win. We'll have to wait and see because we still have a long way to go. There's still 10 seconds left in this first half, and then you have all of the second half. But again, you never know. This play could be the one that decides this game one way or another. I truly believe that. So the call is overturned and they are ruling this an incomplete pass. Big break for Georgia. I did not think there was enough video evidence to overturn it. Kirby Smart must have paid the refs extra money. Yeah, I'm going there. I think Kirby Smart paid the refs a little bit on that play. Not even because I'm a Florida fan, just genuinely. But okay, there's 20 Oh, they put time back on the clock, so 21 seconds. 3rd and 10. Stockton back to pass. Incomplete. You're not missing anything in the Texas Tech Kansas State game. It is 12-7 at halftime there. 4th and 10 now. 17 seconds left. I would imagine, yep, they are going to go for the field goal to try and tie this game up. And like I said, I think this game could very well come down to that specific play of whether it was a fumble or, as they ruled it, an incomplete pass. As Florida calls their first timeout, trying to ice the kicker. I don't feel like that icing the kicker ever really works, honestly. I don't. So 4th and 10 here. 39-yard attempt for Georgia. He's 33 Payne Woodward. And the kick is good. So 12 seconds left in the first half. Woodring knocks it right through the upright. So we are tied 10-10. And that is the end of the first half, or just about, actually. So I guess we'll stay with it. Because it looks like Kansas State, Texas Tech is just about to come out of halftime. And there are 12 seconds left in the first half of this game between Georgia and Florida. We are tied 10-10. Florida's going to get the ball back. I would imagine, though, that they are just going to take a knee. And Florida has an interesting list of their last 4 head coaches. Will Muschamp, Jim McElwain, Dan Mullen, to Billy Napier. It's an interesting group. But there are 12 seconds left in this first half. Tied 10-10. Georgia just kicked a game time field goal. So I would imagine Florida's going to get this and just take the knee. And Georgia kicks it off, and it will not go into the end zone. Florida will return this, and 7 seconds left in 7 seconds left in the first half. We got 7 seconds left in the first half. And Florida will just take a knee and head into the locker room. We are tied 10-10. Florida will receive the second half kickoff. But we shall see. So both Texas Tech, Kansas State, as well as Georgia, Florida are in halftime right now. And I think that is where I will end this live stream. Maybe I'll come back for the second half. But thanks for everybody who tuned in for this first half. live stream of Georgia, Florida, as well as Kansas State, Texas Tech. Like I said, it is 10-10 right now between Georgia and Florida, and it is 12-7 between Texas Tech and Kansas State. But we are at halftime, and actually, you know what? We're going to stick with it for right now, because I'd imagine that since Texas Tech, Kansas State is has been in halftime, they're going to be coming out of it shortly. But you know what? Actually, we're going to end it. I made my decision. Maybe we'll come back in the second half. We shall see. But until then, if I don't see you in the second half, then I will see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. when the Indianapolis Colts take on the Pittsburgh Steelers.